scorecard, KK, scorecard. From the corner of Clark and Addison, it's a Hyundai leadoff man on WGN Sports. Cubs baseball today. First pitch around 20 minutes from right now as the Cubs host the San Diego Padres from Wrigley Field. Hi again, everyone. I'm Len Casper. It's the Hyundai leadoff man here on WGN. The Cubs are trying to avoid today what would be the first ever 4-game sweep at the hands of the Padres in this ballpark. San Diego winning the first 3 in this series. They now have a 6-game lead in the West. The Cubs try to end a 6-game losing streak. News made after the game yesterday, not totally unexpected, but veteran first baseman Derek Lee, after almost 7 years in a Cubs uniform, has been traded to the Atlanta Braves for 3 pitching prospects. The guy with the most upside seems to be young right-hander Robinson Lopez. The word is Derek probably still here in Chicago today and is going to meet his new team tomorrow afternoon, so we could see him in the Atlanta Braves starting lineup against the Cubs. How weird would that be? Here's Derek wrapping up his Cubs career.
Well, I had a great time here. I grew as a player, grew as a person. Didn't achieve the ultimate goal, coming here, it just seemed like we were going to get a championship. So that part's disappointing, but the rest of my experience was nothing but positive. My family enjoyed it here. Wrigley Field, playing in front of these fans, was great on a daily basis. It was just a great experience.
Well, it's real tough because he and I talked about it last month when other trade possibility arose, that none of us thought this was going to happen this year. We really didn't. We were very realistic, and I think he'll tell you the same thing later. We thought we left camp in a situation be able to contend, maybe tinker here or there like you have to do during the year. And our lack of success, I think, caught everyone by surprise. And I think Derek has certainly made it clear he didn't want to leave. In the past, he didn't want to leave earlier, but it just, and he and I had some conversation too about moving forward for the future. So I think it will be good for him, and from that regard, I'm happy for him. But the overall situation we're in kind of makes us all somewhere between miserable and sad every day.
By the way, Derek's final game as a Cub, a 2-homer performance in a win over St. Louis. As we go to break, let's look in on today's Hyundai dealer of the game, Edelson Hyundai in Countryside, Illinois. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. The Hyundai Leadoff Man, brought to you in part by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. Welcome back to Wrigley Field. You can kind of see off in the distance the wind blowing pretty hard right now off the lake. The Padres and Cubs here in Game 4. Well, Sam Fold called up from AAA Iowa, replacing Derek Lee on the roster. We've talked a lot about the Cubs' top affiliates, a bunch of first-place teams at the moment. Let's look in on the Cubs minor league report. The Iowa Cubs up a game and a half in the American Northern Division of the Pacific Coast League. Third baseman Marquez Smith with 4 homers over his last 7. Brandon Guyer, AA Tennessee, hitting .471 over a season-best 18-game winning streak or hitting streak. And Daytona with a big 9-3 win over Dunedin. Trey McNutt got the victory. So the Cubs are just a game back in their division. Time now for Bob's AutoZone tip of the day. The kids will be all right. 10 rookies appeared yesterday, including 6 rookies. We'll see a lot of youngsters here over the final 6 weeks. The tip of the day brought to you by AutoZone. For the auto parts, accessories, and advice you need, get in the zone. AutoZone. The Hyundai Leadoff Man, brought to you in part by Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. And by your Chicago Hyundai dealers. See the cars the experts are raving about at myhyundaichicago.com. We'll set the starting pitchers for you. Don't let those numbers fool you for Matt Latos against the Cubs last season. 22 starts this year. In 18 has allowed 0, 1, or 2 runs 18 times out of 22 starts. First home start for Big Z since June 20th. A lot better at home this season, coming off a win at St. Louis. Padres and Cubs on a beautiful day from Wrigley Field. Next.
The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
We are a public service organization for all you motorists coming into Wrigleyville. Remember, pedestrians always have the right of way. We're inside Wrigley Field for Cubs baseball here on WGN Sports. The Cubs trying to avoid a 4-game sweep at the hands of the NL West leading San Diego Padres. The Padres and Cubs here on WGN. We welcome Cub fans from all over the country watching on WGN America, America's home for baseball. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The Cubs traded Derek Lee to the Atlanta Braves after yesterday's loss to San Diego. He hasn't played since Sunday, a win against the St. Louis Cardinals. And, Bob, we'll talk more about it during the game, but this one stings a little bit considering what Derek has done for this organization.
Well, he's done a lot for this organization, both on and off the field. Most fans more concerned with what took place on the field. He walks away with exemplary numbers as a member of the Cubs, a true gamer. Went out there and played every day with injuries, played hurt, led his teammates in the clubhouse, and we wish him the best of luck after this weekend.
Yeah, I would assume he'll try to be in their lineup tomorrow at first base, but he is coming back from the back problems, and the Cubs should have a pretty good scouting report on him.
Well, they should know what he can hit and what he can't hit and how to go about getting him out. One thing we know, we don't want to hit any balls to Derek Lee at first base because that's where grounders go to die.
Carlos Zambrano will start today, coming up probably his best outing as a starter this season, and it'll be his first home start in quite a while.
I don't think there's any doubt it was his best start as a starter this season. We saw the velocity spike a little bit. He got that sinker up to 93, 94, much better movement on his breaking pitch.
22-year-old Matt Latos, we've looked at all the numbers. I can't find a bad one.
You know, if you throw out his first month of the season when he went 1-2 with an ERA of over 6, his numbers are just ridiculously consistent and very, very good.
Last 9 wins for the Padres, all belonging to their starters. Now our national anthem. Cubs baseball on your official summer baseball station, WGN. Brought to you by Bud Light, the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Submit your idea at refresheverything.com. And by Illinois Lottery's newest game, Powerball. Wednesday and Saturday jackpots start at $20 million. AT&T Uverse TV launched the Chicago Cubs Multiview app in partnership with WGN Sports. Now for Cub home games on WGN through the rest of the season, AT&T Uverse viewers can call their own shots. The Multiview app allows the viewer to choose from 7 different camera angles and watch 4 at the same time. Multiview is on channel 780 and available to all Uverse TV customers in the Chicago area. We've had great weather here on the homestand, but still waiting for that first Cubs win. We've battled hard in this series, but the Padres now with a 6-game lead in the National League West. A very focused team. They're pitching well. They're going to have to deal with some adversity, Bob, as Tony Gwynn flying to San Diego after breaking the hamate bone in his right hand on his swing yesterday. So he's on the disabled list. But good teams overcome the injuries. Carlos Zambrano will face this Padres starting lineup written out by their manager, Bud Black. Jerry Hairston Jr., the former Cub, at second. Miguel Tejada had the day off yesterday, back in there today. Adrian Gonzalez homered on Wednesday. Ryan Ludwig, excellent numbers against Big Z. Headley at third. Yorvit Torrealba behind the plate. Will Venables in left. Kristen Orphy in center. Tony Gwynn probably would have been in center if he were healthy. He has hit well against Zambrano. And Matt Latos, the pitcher, will hit ninth.
We'll check out how the Cubs take the field defensively today behind Big Z. Brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. It's Soriano, Bird, and Fukudome across the outfield this afternoon. Ramirez, Castro, DeWitt, and Nady across the infield. Boy Hill doing the catching today for right-hander Carlos Zambrano. As Len mentioned just a few moments ago, Carlos coming off by far his best outing as a starter this year. Gave up 7 hits in 5 2/3, only 2 earned runs against the Cardinals. But as I mentioned, had his velocity back, had good movement on his splitter and his slider. Looked a little bit like the Carlos Zambrano of old.
Check out the umpires. DJ Rayburn will work the plate. He is a minor league umpire filling in this week. Gary Cedarstrom is the crew chief. Ed Hickox and fielded Culbreth on second and third respectively. Temperature wise, it's not that hot, but the humidity is what has kind of made it sticky. So I guess that's one way to stay cool.
Well, Carlos Silva discovered that earlier this year. It was self-inflicted, but the same result.
So Jerry Hairston Jr. will lead it off. 2 for 13 in the series, but did score the game-winning run a couple of nights ago in a 1-0 San Diego win, and technically the winning run yesterday. First of 5 the Padres got in a 5-1 victory. 1 ball, no strikes on Hairston. That's low, 2-0. Z pitched extremely well at St. Louis to get the win on Saturday. 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 runs. And he's behind early, 3-0. And some good velocity on his fastball. And there's ball 4. Time now for our Chrysler game forecast, brought to you by Chrysler. For more information on our vehicle lineup, log on to Chrysler.com and stop by your Chicagoland or Northwest Indiana Chrysler dealer today. 6 degrees warmer than yesterday. Humidity 48%, but it feels a little more humid than that, doesn't it?
Feels a little sticky, and that wind out of the east, blowing straight in from right field. Maybe will help right-handed pull hitters. Probably will hurt left-handed pull hitters. We talk about the loss of Tony Gwynn to the Padres. He was a very valuable piece to their puzzle. As you see the numbers for Tejada in this series, he's been a busy man. Gwynn, a guy that obviously plays strong defense in the outfield. He's come off the bench and done a nice job as a pinch hitter, as well as stealing 17 bases on the season. He's part of that outfield rotation that they have, and they're going to miss him.
This was yesterday, and they spent a good 5 to 7 minutes looking at that hand, and it was called a sprained right wrist at the time. We found out he has a broken bone in that area. About 6.5 weeks to go in the season, and the clock starts to dwindle. And you're right, they will miss his defense in particular. As Tejada lifts it high in the air, not deep. Marlon Byrd coming in, he will get there, and that's the first out. Win 5 for 9 against Zambrano. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. I suppose we shouldn't be surprised that he has hit well in this ballpark. He pretty much hits well everywhere.
Yeah.
With a career .329 hitter at Wrigley Field. 7 home runs in 18 games, including one yesterday to left. Oh, and 1 the count. The other thing that impresses you about Adrian Gonzalez is that he puts up big numbers every year, and half of his games are cavernous Petco. Barehanded by Ramirez, and the throw is in time. For whatever reason, Adrian Gonzalez was watching the play develop as opposed to just running straight down the line. I think he would have been thrown out either way. That was a slow developing play.
It looked like he cued it off the end of the bat a little bit, perhaps hoping it would go foul and he'd get another pitch to swing at in the at-bat, but a nice barehanded grab by Ramirez and an even nicer play at first by Nady. Had to back up with the glove a little bit, take that ball on the long hop in time to get Gonzalez at first.
So Hairston now at second, 2 outs, and it's Ryan Ludwig. Only Adrian Gonzalez has a higher batting average in the majors than Ludwig does with runners in scoring position. Ludwig at .408. Gonzalez at .416.
We showed you the numbers for Ryan Ludwig against Carlos Zambrano. 7 for 14 with a couple of home runs, and that includes 0 for his last 5. So at one point he was 7 for 9 against Big Z with 2 home runs.
Slider low and outside. It's 3-0. Chase Headley on deck. Switch hitter. A little bad left-handed against Carlos. Three and one. Inside, so both their base runners in this inning. Reaching as a result of a walk, and that'll bring up Headley.
It was pretty obviously a pitch around situation with the dangerous Ryan Ludwig. Not only the numbers you mentioned this season with runners in scoring position, but what he's done against Carlos Zambrano throughout his career. Big Z feels better served just pitching around Ludwig and taking his chances with Chase Headley. Inside corner.
0-1 on Headley. Third baseman by trade. He had to move to left with Kevin Kuzminoff at third, but Kuzminoff got traded in the offseason, so Headley back to his natural position. Headley's major league debut came here June 15th of 2007. Kick, the 0-2. Ground ball up the middle. Castro is there. He will toss to DeWitt, covering the bag, and that's the inning. Padres failed to score. The Cubs are coming up against Matt Latos. For the first time this season, here's Lou's Pepsi lineup against the Padres. Brought to you by Pepsi. Every Pepsi refreshes the world. Fukudome, Castro, and Bird at the top. Ramirez, Nady, Soriano in the middle. DeWitt, Hill, and Zambrano at the bottom. Notice no Tyler Colvin. Well, he got some work at first base today, and will probably get back in the lineup here very soon.
Take a quick look at the Padres defense today. Will Venable in left, who's made a number of highlight reel plays in this series. Chris Denorfi in center. Ryan Ludwig, the veteran, over in right. Chase Headley manning that third base position, as Len said, since the trade of Kevin Kuzminoff. Miguel Tejada, Jerry Hairston Jr. will be the double play combination up the middle. Adrian Gonzalez over at first base. Yorvit Torrealba doing the catching today for right-hander Matt Latos. No matter how you carve it, no matter how you try to dissect these numbers, this guy has had an amazing season. He was 1-2 with a 6.20 ERA in 4 April starts, and since then his ERA sits at 1.79.
The Padres have been cautious with his pitch counts and his innings. And those things start to become a concern as you get near September for a 22-year-old, but they're on top of it. And Tejada peels off. Denorfia will make the catch. And in that regard, we go back to what we've talked about throughout this series. Their manager is a former pitcher, Bud Black.
Yeah, he definitely knows the ins and outs of not only what it takes as a player. He was a pitching coach for a long time under Mike Scioscia in Anaheim. I'm sure they'll keep a close eye on Matt Latos, but the other side of the coin is you're trying to make the playoffs, hopefully to get deep into the playoffs, maybe compete for a World Series, and that means you've got to stretch out the 22-year-old a little bit later in the year. Then they may have to do that.
Those chances can be fleeting.
Yeah.
The opportunity to win a World Series, and he might possibly is their best pitcher on their entire staff. 0-2 on Starlin Castro.
Yeah, Latos will figure feature a 4-pitch mix: fastball, slider, occasional changeup, and curveball. That was the curve in the dirt that time.
Bob, I noticed Jorvi Torrealba on that pitch pointed in front of home plate after he gave the sign. Just before that, he wanted that pitch in the dirt.
Yeah, he was just indicating to his pitcher, a little bit of a reminder, you're way ahead in the count right here. I don't want you to throw this pitch for a strike. I want you to bounce it out there in front of home plate, see if we can't get a swinging strike.
Bird throws it to right, but it's right at Ryan Ludwig. That's a very quick 1-2-3 for Latos. 0-0 after 1.
Day at Wrigley Field, presented by Private Bank. Game time is 7:05, but be sure to arrive early for a special pregame ceremony honoring the new Hall of Famer Andre Dawson, starting at 6:40 p.m. The first 10,000 fans will also receive a number 8 Andre Dawson the Hawk hat. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
And we're looking forward to that. As Jorvi Torrealba takes ball 1. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is a beautiful day today, but I got to tell you, the last 2 days here at Wrigley Field with the lower humidity, a little bit lower temperature, nice cool breeze blowing, I don't think it gets any better than the weather we had the last couple 3 days.
Swing and a miss. 1-2 on the Padre catcher. Enjoy every minute of it while we have it. Just missed. And a fastball off the outside corner, 2-2. Slider that time, full count. Carlos 6-2 lifetime against the Padres with a 2.71. This is his 11th career start. There's been a lot of talk about the young rookies on this Cubs roster trying to make a name for themselves looking ahead to next year. I think Carlos Zambrano, even though he's been here longer than anybody on the roster, I think he has something to prove as well after a very bizarre first 4 months of the season.
And for today, the thing he needs to prove is he can find that strike zone. That's his third walk already in just over an inning of work. Got to find that zone.
Here's Will Venable. Leadoff man is on. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. Rare to see Carlos Zambrano on the day he starts to wear the regular home jersey. Usually goes with that alternate blue top. Changing it up here.
Man, the blue wasn't working so well this year. Not the players are superstitious or anything.
Although, to be honest, I don't know how many times the Cubs have worn the blue here at home. Done it on the road occasionally. When it's hotter out, you'd rather wear the white pinstripes. The kick, the 0-2. And it's high and outside. We are email accessible if you have thoughts sartorially on the Cubs. LennonBob@Tribune.com. You can follow us at Twitter.com/LennonBob as well. Cubs' next opponent, the Braves, playing a matinee on getaway day in Atlanta, trailing the Nationals 4-0. Another last at bat win last night. The Braves lead the majors, 21 last at bat wins. It was Jason Hayward with a run scoring single to win it.
I happened to see that game-winning hit. It came on a 3-0 pitch. He got a fastball down and out over the plate and hit an absolute screamer back up the middle of the field for the game winner.
So Derek Lee's teams yesterday went 1-1. He was a Cub. The Cubs lost, and then he was a Brave, and they won. And he did not perform in either, as he comes back from the bulging disc in his back. Got an epidural a few days ago, and again, I would assume he will try to be in their lineup tomorrow, but it's not a guarantee. Braves knew what they were getting, though. They looked at the MRI. Three-two pitch, ball four. So Z has walked back-to-back hitters to start the inning. Bob, while we have a chance, on a personal level, I'm going to miss Derek a lot. I've been watching him every day for many, many years, and I've long said he's my favorite player. I've got a post on our WGN baseball blog about Derek's career here in Chicago, and I would expect nothing less than a long-standing ovation from this Wrigley Field crowd when he does make his Braves debut this weekend.
Well, you were more fortunate than most, Len. You kind of got to see him grow up in the major leagues. Down there in Florida as a young player, and the success he had very early on, and then bringing it here to Chicago, and setting the bar extremely high for first baseman to follow Derek Lee here in Chicago.
I like what Paul Sullivan wrote about him in the Chicago Tribune. Just all the many controversies and things that tend to happen here over the course of the last 6.5 years, and Derek really was not involved in any of them. The only one was this year when he got into it a little bit with Carlos Zambrano in the dugout, but a great teammate. Every one of his teammates would tell you that. And he gets a chance to get back to the playoffs this season. There's a pretty decent chance he was not going to be re-signed anyway. And we wish Derek and his wife Christina and their children, we wish them all the best.
After this weekend.
After this weekend, you're right. So check out our WGN baseball blog, WGNTV.com. There's a strike, 2-1 on Denorfia. By the way, the Braves put Troy Gloss on the disabled list with a sore knee. I think Derek was going to play at first base more often anyway, but Gloss now on the shelf. Chipper Jones out for the rest of the season due to left knee surgery. Inside, it's 3-2. The Cubs got 3 pitchers in return. The most intriguing is Robinson Lopez, a right-hander, 19 years old and only his 2nd pro season. So remember these names: Robinson Lopez, Terrell Harris, and Jeffrey Lorick. They're all part of the Cubs minor league system. And the oldest is 23, so they got 3 young pitchers.
And the Braves historically have been very astute in drafting pitchers, so you'd like to think that if they like these guys enough to draft them and develop them in their system, that they'll come over here to the Cubs and continue to develop and hopefully someday be pitching right here at Wrigley Field.
Diving stop. Castro has really nowhere to go, and he throws it away. The runners are going to hold as Coy Hill quickly pounced on it near the on-deck circle. So a base hit for Denorfia, bringing up the pitcher Latos with the bases loaded, nobody out.
A nice play by Castro just to get to that ground ball and keep it in the infield. Kind of an awkward off balance, possibly an unnecessary throw here to third base. Couldn't get much on it, threw it back to the inside part of the diamond where Ramirez couldn't get to it, but fortunately Coy Hill saw the play developing and got over there to back it up quickly.
And now Mark O'Neill has come out to join Larry Rothschild. So I think they're checking maybe on the pitching hand of Zambrano. Is that?
Well, right at the very end of the play there where Coy threw the ball back to home plate, Carlos stuck his bare hand out there and just kind of deflected the ball.
Jammed his ring finger.
Coy had his back to the play at that point, wasn't sure what was going on, and rather than reach across and catch the ball in his gloves, Zambrano tried to barehand it.
It's a bad habit. He usually sticks that right hand out on a ball hit past him at the mound. And he says he's okay. Back-to-back walks and an infield single, their first hit of the game. And it is Matt Latos. Cubs will play back in double play depth up the middle. The corner men are in. Foul out of play off to the right.
You know, Len, if the positions were reversed, I think we'd probably see some activity in the Cubs bullpen right now. It's pretty obvious early on Zambrano does not have much command out there on the mound. Already issued 4 walks without an out here in the 2nd inning. Because Carlos had only pitched 70 innings coming into this game today. The Cubs are where they are in the standings. Who's going to give him an opportunity to try to get his legs underneath him out there on the mound and eat up a few innings, because we know that bullpen has been worked and overworked recently.
And you certainly don't want to give up much today against Matt Latos. Chomping on that gum as always. 1-2 on the pitcher. Here it is. Up in the air. As Fukudome drifts through the bullpen, makes the catch. Everybody's going to hold. Well, a nice play by Fukudome. That has the recipe for disaster. You've got the mound, the 2 home plates. Not to mention all the players in the bullpen.
And they were not going to give him any assistance whatsoever over there on the first base side of the field. If this happens in front of your own bullpen, the guys probably get ready to protect you just in case you go down, but not a lick of assistance from that Padres bullpen, and nor should there be.
Well, I noticed that Kosuke had a little jump over the dirt part of the bullpen mound, so he knew exactly where he was.
Just that field awareness. I mean, Kosuke's played out there and right plenty. He knows about how many steps he has. He knows out of his peripheral vision when he's getting close to that wall, where are those bullpen mounds, and did a nice job of negotiating that territory to catch that ball.
One strike on Jerry Hairston. The pitch, a bouncer, backhanded by Nady. From his knees, he gets one. The relay, though, not in time, and Hairston will pick up an RBI on a fielder's choice as Torrey Alba scores the first run. Good effort by the Cubs. They just didn't have time to turn him.
Nice diving stop by Xavier Nady. The throw from his knees, and with Jerry Hairston's speed, there's no chance to turn that double play. He's already past the bag by the time the throw gets to Zambrano covering first. Nice, we call it a cheat. There's nothing illegal about it. It's just coming off the bag a little early out there at second base to avoid the runner and get that throw off to first base. And that time it looked like Starlin really slid off the bag.
Slider low on Tejada. So those walks to start the inning came back to haunt Carlos, who's still not out of it. Very close to Tejada that time, 2-0. Flip to DeWitt to force Hairston, and that ends the inning. The Padres strike first. It's 1-0 early. As Matt Latos will face Aramis Ramirez here in the Cubs' second. Outside corner is strike one. 7 times out of his 22 starts, Latos has not allowed a run. That's how good he has been. Right, there's the first Cubs hit. Today's Walgreens Celebrity Bat Kids are Michaela Larson from Worth, Illinois, Jordan Dutton from Creve Coeur, Illinois. For more info on how you can be A Walgreens celebrity bat kid, maybe get an autograph from Carlos Marmol. Go to WGNradio.com. Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. Xavier Nady probably get a lot of playing time at first base. Michael Hoffpower will probably be here at some point. I think September 1st at the latest. Cubs could not bring him up because there's that 10-day waiting period between major league stints unless there's an injury. So instead of Hoffpower, it was Sam Fuld who was brought up, adding a little more versatility off the bench and in the outfield. That's Ryan Webb out in the Padre bullpen. He just arrived today, replacing Tony Gwynn on their roster. So I think just getting stretched out. And as Nady pops it up, Denorfia coming way in. The wind pushing that ball back toward the infield. One away. Mentioned Bob Tyler Colvin's going to get some reps at first base before games. Has played a little first, but it's been a long time. I think he's going to get an opportunity possibly to play there before the season ends.
A little bit of a refresher course, so to speak. He hasn't played first base, I believe, since his sophomore year at Clemson. So it's been a while since he's been down there, and it's a lot more than just taking some ground balls with a different glove. What defense plays to concern yourself with, pick-off attempts, a lot of different things you have to deal with as a first baseman, and I'm sure we'll come back to him very quickly.
The 0-1. Tejada will get one. That's Ramirez at second base. Ranging far to his right to get an out.
It helps to know your base runner and know your hitter coming out of that batter's box. Tejada knew he didn't have a chance to get Soriano at first, but with the slow-footed Ramirez, the runner at first base, he's got enough time to wheel around, make a perfect throw to Jerry Hairston for the force out at second.
Brings up Blake DeWitt. Fastball in there for a strike. And as a Cub, Blake DeWitt hitting .286 with a couple of home runs. Acquired from the Dodgers on the final day of July. Well, Matt Latos admits he's grown up a lot. He's been pretty open about the fact that he was rather immature about a lot of things, and it may have hurt his draft status out of high school. Wasn't very trusting of his veteran teammates early on in his major league career. Had the unfortunate reputation of being a bad teammate. That's not how you want to start out, but that's all changed, and many now are marveling at how far he's come in that regard. Talked to him the other day about it. I think he can see it now, Bob, when he sees younger players act like he used to. Heath Bell in particular has taken him under his wing, although Latos is taller, so I guess it's more figurative than literal. But the one thing he's got to learn is how to sneeze. Latos went on the DL earlier this season with a strained left oblique. He was trying to not squeeze as he was walking down some steps in Denver. And you know, when you suppress a sneeze, it doesn't feel very good.
It's the first time I've heard of a guy going on the DL because of it, but stranger injuries.
Well, Sammy Sosa injured his back on a sneeze many years ago. But I'm guessing he actually did sneeze. I'm worried when I try to hold my nose, close my mouth, that my brain's going to explode.
Sneezes feel great. I try never to suppress them. Excuse yourself before and then let it fly. And I'm not saying this is a case for Matt Latos or Sammy Sosa or any of the other people who have had sneezing injuries, but it's been known in the past to come up with some kind of a cockamamie excuse because the real reason for the injury was so violently stupid you don't want anybody to know.
Right. Got him. Slow curveball to get DeWitt. It's nothing to sneeze at, as they say. 1-0 Padres.
Budweiser official beer of the first inning. Let's check out the crowd through the first inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game.
Hey baby, I'm a rock star. Hey baby, big city, white light, all day, all night. Baby, I'm a rock star. Hey baby, I'm a rock star. Hey baby, it's big city.
That's Rockstar by Rihanna. Budweiser, it's what we do.
1-0 on Adrian Gonzalez. The Padres with a second inning run. Swing and a miss. Some left-handed power hitters, they have a home run swing. Adrian Gonzalez has a hit the ball really hard somewhere swing.
Get the barrel on.
Yep.
We've seen him turn on pitches from the middle of the plate in. We've seen him inside out pitches from the middle of the plate in. We've seen him drive balls away from him into the bleachers in left field. He just gets the head of the bat on the ball.
Fukudome tracking and runs it down. I don't think that hit the sweet spot. And still got a hold of it.
Unlike a lot of power hitters who you can jam in on their hands, especially up above the belt, Gonzalez is so quick. As you said, he's not a prototypical power hitter with the big, long, loopy swing. He gets his hands and the barrel of that bat into the hitting zone in a hurry.
I don't know how Ludwig avoided that pitch, but he did.
Tailing fastball that never was in the strike zone, started in the right-handed batter's box, moved further in.
It would behoove Carlos to start throwing strike one a little bit more often. He's gotten behind just about everybody. He's walked 4 here in the first 2 innings. And that's not going to cut it. About a lot of the numbers we show you, and I think we picked the right ones. It's not that you can't win with those numbers, but by and large, if you do that for 7 innings, you can't win.
More than anything else, baseball's about playing the percentages, trying to get the percentages in your favor. And any pitcher who falls behind in the count as often as Zambrano has in this game, that swings the percentages to the other dugout. It gives them the advantage. You want to always try to have the advantage, even if it's the smallest advantage.
Slow roller backhanded by Nady, and Zambrano will beat Ludwig to first. And they'll go 3-1. The 26th annual Cubs convention will take place at the Hilton Chicago, January 14th, 15th, and 16th, 2011. Rooms are available now by calling the Hilton Chicago 312-922-4400 and asking for the Cubs convention rate. Weekend passes go on sale in early November. For more information, visit Cubs.com. One and one on Headley. That one inside, 2-1. Fell off the mound. He's trying to get mechanically back in line here.
We've seen him after several of the pitches kind of raise his right arm, reminding himself to keep his elbow up, get his arm up in that good angle to get the maximum sink on that sinker and the bite on the slider. Just kind of out of whack mechanically a little bit in the early going here today.
According to Baseball Reference, Z's career first pitch strike percentage 56%, and over those 10 years the major league average 59%. So what that means, about 6 out of every 10 first pitches on average will be a strike. He was what, 35% early in this game, now 36%. So you'd like to see that get up to at least 1 out of every 2.
And there are times you don't want to throw, especially a hittable strike on the first pitch. If a guy has a reputation of being a first ball swinger, you want to be careful with that first strike and maybe not even throw a strike to a hitter like that. But I don't think that's the case with Carlos today. He's just trying to find a good release point.
There's ball 4. Walk number 5. He's only allowed 1 hit, and that did not leave the infield. Brings up Torrealba for the second time. Zambrano's career high in walks, and it happened 2 starts ago at San Francisco. He walked 7. Third time in his career he had walked 7.
Another unfortunate byproduct of going ball 1, ball 2, ball 3 on a lot of hitters. Your defense tends to rock back on their heels just a little bit.
Base hit into left center. Headley will stop at second. Torrealba on with a single.
also another unfortunate byproduct is the aggressive swings that you get when you put hitters in a 1-0, 2-0, 3-1 count. They're not just trying to put the ball in play. They're trying to put the ball in play and do some damage when they have the count in their favor.
These walks are up a little bit this year. The strikeouts per 9 are actually above his career average. He's just given up more hits this season. And he's frustrated right now.
Yeah.
2-0. The pitch to Venable. 2-1. Headley walked with 2 outs. Torrealba followed that up with a base hit. In the dirt, 3-1. Cristianorthia on deck. Pulled just foul. Saw Hill setting up toward the inside corner. Bob, when a guy is struggling to throw strikes, do you try to center your glove a little bit more just to give that guy a middle of the plate target?
That's the general thought process. Yeah, if a guy's struggling to find his release point, if he's consistently missing up and into a right-handed hitter, then maybe you move out on the outside corner, try to really get him to reach out to the target. But unfortunately right now Carlos is missing high, low, in, out.
Runners go on the 3-2, and it's popped foul, back out of play.
I think that's the most frustrating thing for a pitching coach and for a catcher for that matter, and I'm sure for a pitcher, is when you're consistently missing in the same area over and over and over, and you tell yourself, make an adjustment, let's go. There's obviously something you're doing mechanically wrong to cause you to miss in that same location over and over. Those are a little easier to remedy, but when a guy's missing all over the place, you're not sure exactly what's causing it.
Pop-up, foul ground, and Ramirez has plenty of room to make the catch. Well, it wasn't easy, but Zambrano got out of it unscathed. 1-0 Padres in the third.
Nachos and a beverage. Perfect. Welcome to Wrigley. We want to acknowledge Boy Scout night the other night here at the ballpark, the inaugural Scout night with the Cubs, as the Boy Scouts celebrate their 100th anniversary this year. Boy Scouts of America, founded right here in Chicago. And a nice care package from the Chicago Boy Scouts. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Oh, and 2 on catcher Coy Hill. Giovanni Soto hopefully will be off the DL by Sunday as he comes back from a shoulder injury. Coy has taken up much of the playing time since, as he takes a called third strike.
That's been a pitch that's given Coy a lot of trouble recently, and as we say all the time, once the advanced scouts see it, that's all you're going to get. That off the body sinker, starts off the inside corner, tails back over the corner. That's at least the 3rd one in the last week I've seen Coy take on that inside corner.
Here's Zambrano, pinch hit yesterday and struck out in the 7th inning. There's Gio. Could be just a few days away.
Talked to Gio yesterday. Says he feels great. He's ready to go. Hoping to be right back in that lineup as soon as he's eligible.
Carlos could not hold up. 1-1. Franchise record 20 home runs as a pitcher.
Got that care package from the Boy Scouts, Len. I told you I was hoping it was my life-saving merit badge. That's the only one I needed for an Eagle Scout. But because of baseball season and the lack of cement ponds in my hometown, never got the life-saving badge.
Kind of like that honorary degree, or looking for the honorary merit badge.
Yeah. Maybe if I would actually save somebody's life in the water, I could get it. You want to help me out there, Pugh?
Well, when you grow up, you'll get one. I'm surprised you haven't saved anybody's life, considering how much fishing you do.
Yeah. Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN TV is sponsored in part by the Illinois Lottery Mega Millions. Friday's Mega Millions jackpot, nice round number, $100 million.
That would work.
That'll work. Buy myself a life-saving badge.
Yeah. Nice shot down Sheffield. Fukudome flied out to short center to start the Cubs first. First time through the order. Latos gave up a single in the 2nd. That was it. Latos from South Florida. He was born in Alexandria, Virginia, but went to Coconut Creek High School and then Broward Community College. Slow windup on the 0-2. 1-2.
I mentioned earlier, Latos basically pitches with a fastball and a slider. He'll mix in an occasional curve and changeup, but he has a really good, tight-breaking curveball. We've seen him use it in a couple of instances today when he's been ahead in the count. There's another one right there. That is the true definition of a 12-6 curveball. If you picture the numbers on the clock, it goes from 12 straight down to 6. Most guys have a little bit of tilt to their breaking pitch. That one goes straight down.
Fastball froze Fukudome, but it was off the inside corner by maybe an inch. Latos loves pitching in the daytime. 4-1 with a 168. just walked Kosuke to keep the inning alive for Castro. I don't know why, but when I hear the name Latos, and when I say it, I want to say the fresh maker. It's Mentos. Time now to look at our PNC Cubs Achiever. Cubs Rookie of the Year winners, the latest 2 years ago, Giovanni Soto. Going all the way back to Billy Williams in 1961. PNC Bank, proud to be an official sponsor of the Chicago Cubs, just as proud to support the fans and community who cheer them on. PNC for the Achiever in us all. Looking forward to the Billy Williams statue unveiling coming up in early September. It'll be where the Harry Carey statue is now. That'll end up out behind the bleachers. Harry used to broadcast games occasionally. Castro struck out in the first. Fukudome diving back in time. Good snag by Torrealba. Might have tweaked an ankle or a knee as he was shuffling to his right.
He ended up with just a backhanded pick of a curveball in the dirt over in that left-handed batter's box. Not sure what exactly happened to the right leg or the right ankle. Well, I say it all the time. There's no such thing as a bad block, but that particular one was a lucky one. Reached across his body like a first baseman and picked it clean out of the dirt.
Is that an oxymoron? Picked it clean out of the dirt. I like that. 3-0. Latos just walked Fukudome, and he's in danger of walking Castro as well. Three and one. Latos has a sign from Torrealba. And here's his 3-1. Fouled back. It's full 3-2. Trade news today. Pedro Feliz goes from Houston to the Cardinals, who were looking for some help over third. Minor league pitcher David Carpenter going the other way. Also, Jason LaRue put on the 60-day disabled list. He was on the 15-day DL after a concussion resulting from that fight with the Reds when he was kicked in the face by Johnny Cueto. Pedro Feliz with a lot of postseason experience. Ground ball, and it'll be Gonzalez to Latos to end the inning. One of the great landmarks here in the entire city, that Harry Carey statue. Great photo opportunity. We'll be back 1-0 San Diego. Good start for Carlos Zambrano here in the fourth. Strike one on Chris Denorfield. 8-9-1 for the Padres. That one way outside. 1-1. Some other interesting news, Bob. Brad Hopp, released by the Colorado Rockies, was hitting .255 with only 7 homers in 88 games. Sounds like one of the contenders will try to pick him up. That one floated just over Blake DeWitt's outstretched glove. That puts Latos in a bunting spot with nobody out.
He's done so 5 times this season, put down a successful sacrifice bunt. This is just kind of massaged out there over the head of Blake DeWitt. Not even a full swing, just enough to get it out into right field.
There's the bunt by Latos. Ramirez will field and fire to DeWitt in time. Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN.
You know, Len, usually a sac bunt to the third base side of the field with a runner on at first will result in a force at second base. Well, Ramirez just very casually came in and conceded that they weren't even going to look to second base. When you see that batter square around a bunt, especially the pitcher, usually that third baseman gets right in his grill. That's why most of the time you try to push that ball to the first base side of the field. That should have been a force at second base.
The versatile Jerry Hairston, been playing second base a lot with David Eckstein on the disabled list. And a line shot. Marlon Byrd doesn't have to leave his feet. Denorfia has to hold it second. As Marlon told me during batting practice today, he's going to play all out, win, lose, or draw. I think you can also look for him to be a little more vocal as a leader next year. During spring training, he was the new guy this season, but this is kind of becoming his team in terms of the the veteran everyday leadership stuff. Marlon's going to fill the void with Derek Lee now with the Braves. I know he has talked to Tyler Colvin a lot this season about outfield play. Inside on Miguel Tejada. 1 ball, no strikes.
And I think out of respect to the other veterans on the team, Marlon Byrd intentionally didn't speak up as much this year. You have to feel comfortable in your new surroundings. You've got to earn the respect of your teammates, and certainly he's done that this year. So I agree with you. I certainly hope that he feels it's his place to take more of a leadership role.
Tejada pops it up on the infield. The captain on that infield, usually the shortstop, in this case Starlin Castro, who makes the catch. Bottom 4, 1-0 San Diego. fans are great spellers. Perfect. And every team's fans would get those 4 in a row properly, especially, from the other direction.
Color coordinated.
That's right. Sometimes you do the L on your forehead, like loser. I always get it backwards.
YMCA. People always do the C the wrong direction.
Yep.
That spelling is tough.
TUFF.
That's right.
It's not the kind of swing Marlin wanted to take, especially the first pitch of it at bat. So what does that tell you?
Maybe too much going through his mind, looking for one pitch, saw the breaking ball, realized it was going to be a strike. Until you get to 2 strikes, though, you really should commit to one pitch in one zone. If it's there, you take a good rip at it. If it's not, you take it, even if it's a strike, and go to work. With 2 strike, all bets are off. You have to react to what you see, be ready to hit his fastest pitch and make adjustments to everything else. But on that first pitch, you should be the aggressor.
And he chased. The ball got away from Torrealba, who picks it up and tosses it over the runner. And then they get the out.
The 2010 Chicago Cubs baseball season on WGN is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime.
Great to have you with us today. A Thursday matinee of Cubs baseball on WGN. Latos to Ramirez. Breaking ball strike. Aramis with the Cubs only hit a leadoff single in the second. Looking for a strong finish to what's been a very disappointing 2010 season. Some of the younger players, the flashes you see, you hope they get more consistent. For the veteran guys like Aramis Ramirez, I think the question over the winter is going to be, was 2010 just a blip on the screen, or is his career kind of going in the other direction? And you hope it's certainly the former as he strikes out. Time now to check out today's improvement from Menards as Xavier Nady steps in. He's gotten a lot more playing time here in the month of August as a starter, and the numbers have reflected that. For all your home improvement needs, shop and save big money at Menards. The Ramirez question, Bob, I just don't know the answer. Do you just chalk it up to a subpar season? Last year he was fantastic when he was healthy. Problem was the shoulder cost him about half the season, but when he played, he was the same old Aramis.
I keep going back to those last couple weeks of spring training when Aramis was nursing some minor injuries and didn't get at bats for the better part of 2 weeks leading up to opening day. Never was able to get on track.
It was a dominating 4th inning by Latos, middle of the order, 3 straight strikeouts, 1-0 San Diego. That missed machine, you got to like that on a day like this. Knee-high strike to Adrian Gonzalez. 5th inning, 1-0 San Diego. They got their run in the second. Matt Latos seems to be settling in. His Wrigley Field debut. Outside to Gonzalez. 1-1. Gonzalez pops it up, back of third. Castro will take it. So Gonzalez is 0 for 3. There's a familiar face. Dick Enberg. One of the great versatile announcers in broadcasting history, and the new television voice of the Padres, along with our good friend Mark Grant, the pride of Joliet. And with a couple of off days, Mark's had a little fun away from the ballpark. Chance to spend some time with his family. And he's here today on getaway day. They'll actually go to Milwaukee after this. Talking to some of the Padres people, Ted Leitner has been doing radio for them forever. Says, I don't ever remember a bus trip from Wrigley Field to Milwaukee. Now that's a no-brainer. When the San Diego Padres come to the Midwest, they should always do Chicago, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
As we normally do San Diego and Los Angeles, but not this year. Well, that scheduling makes way too much sense. Ramirez to Nady. Ludwig is out.
Well, let's check out one of the ceremonial first pitches before the game today. It came from Cynthia Padilla, a guest of Subway. The scouting report is she's a finesse pitcher. Doesn't throw real hard, has to hit her spots to get people out. Put her right in there, Cynthia. That away. Now time for the 5th inning, brought to you by Subway. Hey, Chicagoland viewers, how'd you like to win $5 footlongs from Subway? Just be the 500th texter to text Subway to 97999. Go to WGNTV.com for complete information and rules.
Hadley pops it up. No play for Nady or Hill.
The wind seems to be a lot stronger than the flags would make you believe. We saw Kosuke Fukudome have to come streaking in foul territory in right field to make a catch on a pop-up. We've seen a number of other fly balls really get knocked down by that wind. That one looked like it was going to end up out near the tarp somewhere, and it ended up in the first base dugout.
That's floated out into center for a 2-out single. The former battery mate in San Francisco, Mark Grant.
I caught Mark Grant's first game in the major leagues at old Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. Talk about a rookie getting thrown into the fire. He had an incident with the Reds that particular day, and one of their veteran players was making a fool of himself, and some of the veterans on the team told Mudcat, if you don't drill this guy, you're never going to have any respect in this league, and he took care of business. We were proud of him.
You gotta love it when you look at TV guys and you point at the camera that is showing them, and they look at you like, what?
What? It's like the fans that sit down below the booth and hold their signs up to show us. We keep pointing at the camera. Show it to the camera. We'll get you on TV, but we don't have a camera.
I don't have a camera. One on Torrealba, 2 down, a 1-0 Padre lead. They have one 1-0 win already in the series. This used to be a pretty plodding team. Didn't steal a lot of bases. That's changed a lot now. Only the Mets have stolen more bases than the Padres have in the entire National League. Bird will get to the spot and retire Torrealba and the Padres halfway home, 1-0, as his pitcher's duel continues. Hervis, and we'd like to thank Daniel and wish him the best of luck his upcoming semester at Bob Jones University in South Carolina. Thanks again, Daniel, for all the hard work. We've locked him up inside the production truck. He has not been able to come to the booth all summer. No, we have enjoyed Daniel. And back to school time. Your favorite time of the year. Good time to grill some meat.
Ideal barbecue weather here in Chicago. You know, in our neighborhood, you see a lot of smoke coming off the rooftops and the balconies.
We grill out in the dead of winter. We, my wife, she works the grill. In the middle of December, we'll get the snow off the grill and fire it up. It's always a good time to barbecue. 1-2 on Soriano. His next extra base hit will be the 700th of his major league career. How about a game-tying home run?
Unfortunately, so far through the early part of this game, Matt Latos has made very few mistakes in the middle of the plate where you could think about doing one swing damage. It doesn't mean he won't make mistakes, but so far he's done a nice job of keeping the ball out of the middle of the plate.
3-2. Well, he is pretty accurate, although he didn't try to do this. He was throwing balls into the stands during batting practice in San Francisco in May, playing catch with some fans. So then he decided to air one out as he strikes out Soriano. Threw it actually out of the ballpark into the parking lot and hit Giants broadcaster Dave Fleming's car. Smashed his sunroof. So he got a bill for about $1,200 and took care of it. Oops.
And it showed him he had good control.
That's 4 straight strikeouts, all swinging, 7 in the game. DeWitt fouls away. 1-1. Curveball was up, but a little bit too much for DeWitt. He just fouled it off. 1-2. There's Coy Hill on deck. I don't know if it's been by design or not, but he has varied the speed of his fastball a lot. 4-seamer, 2-seamer, and I've seen him up at 98. That one at 94. I've seen 91. That one at 92. And that can be very effective. Makes that fastball look like it's 3 or 4 different pitches.
Yeah, and you miss it by a quarter of an inch down toward the trademark or a quarter of an inch up toward the end of the bat, and instead of squaring it up and hitting the ball hard somewhere, you end up putting it into play weakly. I know I've told the story in the past. We had a young pitcher with the Diamondbacks that was getting banged around pretty good in spring training and couldn't figure out why, so we had him sit down one day at a table and pulled out his pitching charts. Fastball 92, fastball 92, fastball 92, fastball 92.
And he got him. Looked like a pretty tight slider. That's 5 straight strikeouts, 8 in the game, 2 down.
We were just talking about the rooftops. Wrigleyville Rooftops has premier seating for up to 200 guests for corporate gatherings, family reunions, and bachelor or bachelorette parties. Individual and group tickets are available for all games. For more details, go to www.wrigleyvillerooftops.com or call 773-248-ROOF.
Coy Hill deep to right. Ludwig back on it. On the warning track, the leaping catch right at the corner of the well. Ryan Ludwig continues to play a stellar right field here at Wrigley Field. Toyota. Padres they had gone 0-5 during a 5-game stretch, scoring under 3 runs a game here at Wrigley. But they have a chance leading today for their first ever 4-game series sweep in the friendly confines. Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, official partner of the Chicago Cubs. Nice look up Waveland on this Thursday afternoon. 1-0 on Will Venable.
It doesn't look that way after the ball game when I'm trying to get out of the parking lot.
No, it's rather full.
Yeah.
Well, remember what I said to open the broadcast. Motorists in Wrigleyville, pedestrian has the right of way.
Even if they're staggering right down the middle of the street.
Venable pops it up. And Coy Hill with a great effort tried to dive over the top of the dugout. There's a little nook or a cranny. We haven't quite defined it. It's one or the other. Right next to each dugout. He tried to use that to his advantage.
Tried to get as close to that dugout roof as he possibly could and then make a diving attempt. Took one last peek right there. Just too far out of reach. You need a ticket to catch that one, Coy.
I'm going to call that one a nook and the one on the other side of cranny. Just so we've got it figured out. Z has gotten better as this game has gone along. Nice strikeout of Venable, and that is his first strikeout of the game, believe it or not. Now Denorfia, who has a couple of singles. That gives him 6 hits in the series. Big swing and a miss on a fastball. The last time Carlos went at least 6 innings was in his last home start, June 20th against the Angels. He went 7. This is his 3rd start since coming back into the rotation. Couldn't get him to bite on the slider. 3-2 with the pitcher Latos on deck. Up and in for ball 4. It's his first walk since the 3rd, the 6th overall in the game. That's why he's up already over 100 pitches. The bunt by Latos. Z will throw to second. They get one. The relay throw. Tell you what, they almost turned it.
And give the credit to Matt Latos there for hustling down that first baseline. A lot of times a pitcher will bunt the ball and just start jogging to first base, assuming it's going to be a good sac bunt. That time back to the mound. Fairly hard. Zambrano got to it quickly and gets the lead runner at second base. But because Latos was busting it down that line, the Cubs are unable to turn 2.
Runs pretty well. 6-6. Takes him a little while to get those long legs in motion, but as Bob said, he was able to hustle it out and keep it alive for Hairston. Stands near the front of the box and pretty close to home plate. Jerry had a decision to make in April. He had an off day when he was in San Diego, and the Yankees had the World Series ring ceremony in New York. He decided, you know what, even though it's a logistical nightmare, it's a chance of a lifetime. So he flew to New York and back to San Diego in a 24-hour span. He said it was totally worth it. Two and one. We've talked ad nauseum about his ability to pull the ball. I think he understands that, so he's moved up even more in the box. He still pulls it a lot.
Yeah, he's probably a good 18 inches closer to the pitcher than most right-handed batters. Most of the hitters, especially in the game today, if you look at that hole closer to Coy Hill there near the back line, or where the back line was, that's where most of the right-handed hitters choose to stand. Jerry Hairston is a good foot or foot and a half in front of that toe hold where everybody else stands. And still hooks balls foul.
That's a quick bag. High for ball 3. So Latos will be on the move with 2 outs. Tejada on deck. Nady playing behind the runner at first.
See if Hairston can foul off 4 or 5 more pitches here in this sequence and let Latos run some wind sprints towards second base. See if that takes something away from his effectiveness.
I was thinking the same thing. Here he goes again. And this one will be caught by Nady in foul ground. Bottom 6. Zambrano, Fukudome, and Castro against Latos, who's one hitting the Cubs through 5.
The jackpot with Powerball contestant. If the Cubs hit a home run in this inning, Darlene Grabinger will win 100 chances to win the Powerball jackpot. Saturday's jackpot is worth $80 million.
The 2010 Major League debut of Sam Fuld, who hit his first and to this point only Major League home run on the final day of last season. So he'll bat for Carlos Zambrano, who, got to give him a lot of credit. He was not throwing strikes today, but he found a way to get through 6 and allow only 1 run. Z missed the strike zone 50 times in his 6 innings, but allowed only 4 hits. So this team certainly in this thing. Sam has a good eye at the plate. As that one parachuted out to left and caught by Venable. We see Sean Marshall in the 7th.
You know, Len, I think against just about any other pitcher who walked as many guys as Zambrano did today, fell behind the count as many times as he did, against a team who likes to run the bases the way the Padres do, they would have been in big trouble. A lot of guys in scoring position, but because Carlos holds runners so well, unloads the ball quickly to home plate, he basically completely stopped the Padres' running game through the first 6 innings.
Made big pitches when he had to. And he also limited the damage in that second inning. They had the bases loaded with nobody out, and he only gave up 1. The 0-1 to Fukudome. Bounced past a diving Headley into left.
Headley playing really shallow, protecting against a possible bunt for a base hit by Fukudome, and we've seen him do that a few times in his tenure here with the Cubs, but not very often. And that time playing shallow at third base cost Chase Headley as that ball got by him into left field for a knock.
Castro 0 for 2. Long pause by Latos before the pitch. Fastball a little bit off the outside corner. Ball 1. Castro hitting .386 since July 10th. Third best batting average in baseball during that span. And a high fly ball, right center. It's going to be Denorfia. As Fukudome went back to tag, but has to hold it first. Looking for a great venue for your next party, the Captain Morgan Club at Wrigley Field has over 8,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor space and unmatched access to Wrigley Field. It's Wrigleyville's premier private party location. To book your party, call 773-404-4750. Check on Fukudome with Marlon Byrd at the plate and 2 down. Bob, the Cubs offense in now 4 games against the Padres have scored 1 run against their starters. That's it.
That's it.
Clayton Richard last night gave up 1. Kevin Correa 6 shutout. John Garland 7 scoreless innings. Richard 6 2/3 1 run, and Latos to this point 1 out away from 6 scoreless today.
Well, sometimes when you play a series against a team, Len, they come in and you expect certain things based on the numbers, based on where they are in the standings. But I think the Padres come in exactly as advertised. Strong rotation, really strong tail end of the bullpen. They play great defense, tremendous team speed. They create runs with their speed on the bases. This is exactly the team we thought we were going to see in this series.
Down into the left field corner. We'll watch Kosuke. They're going to try to get him in, and he will, as Venable had all kinds of trouble in the corner. A tie game. Marlon Byrd with an RBI double.
We haven't had many, so this is going to be the BMW ultimate drive of the game. You know, we've talked about Ryan Ludwig and how good he is in right field here at Wrigley. William Venable has all kinds of issues with that ball down in the left field corner. Wasn't sure if it was going to hit the side wall, roll all the way down into the corner. Ultimately, it got past him, allowing Fukudome to come all the way around and score from first. Now's your chance to lease a new BMW 3 Series for $439 a month with nothing down and no security deposit. Visit ChicagolandBMW.com for details.
31st double, 54th run driven in for Bird, and now Ramirez will try to give the Cubs the lead. Swing and a miss. Cubs have not led at any juncture in this series. Driven to left, Venable twisting and turning, can't get it. Bangs off the door, Bird's going to score, and Ramirez with a go-ahead RBI double. It's 2-1.
Hooking line drive off the bat of Ramirez. Venable initially turned the wrong way, tried to recover, but the combination of the side spin on the ball and the wind blowing in from right field really pushed it away from him. Very quiet first 5 innings of this game. The Cubs exploding here in the 6th.
Balsley, the pitching coach, out to chat. They're going to get somebody up in their bullpen. So guys down there stretching.
Keep the line moving.
That was tasty.
Oh, that one comes with instructions. Keep your eye on the ball. Keep your shoulder in. Don't overstride. Use your hands. Just missed it. Hanging curveball from Latos that time.
Sidewinding lefty Joe Thatcher. Getting ready quickly. Two-one Cubs. Back-to-back 2-out RBI doubles, giving them the lead. And Nady strikes out. Torrealba will toss to Gonzalez. That's the inning, as Latos ties his career high in strikeouts, but the Cubs now have a 2-1 advantage after 6. Honda's CRV game summary. The starting pitchers, Matt Latos, 6 innings, a couple of earned runs, back-to-back RBI doubles in the 6th, giving the Cubs the lead. Carlos Zambrano really battled hard today, walked 6, but has a chance now for a win. Visit your Honda dealer and test drive a 2010 Honda CRV. Here's Sean Marshall. Facing Tejada, Gonzalez, and Ludwig. And the question is, Latos only 75 pitches as Tejada, with Ramirez playing back, tried to lay down a bunt. Will Bud Black stay with his starter in the 7th or go to the bullpen? We'll find out. One and one.
If I had to guess, I'd say they'd probably pull the plug on him, even though with a low pitch count. You talked about it earlier. They're trying to limit his innings and number of pitches he throws at this point in the season, hopefully to extend him if they need him for a pennant race and possible playoff appearances. We've got a very deep bullpen down there. On the surface, it would seem to be a pretty easy decision, but we'll see what happens.
It's a manager right there. Pacing, head down, a contemplative look in the face of Bud Black. Just missed that outside corner, 3-2.
Contemplative, real good word. Just misses that backdoor breaking pitch. Never quite got to the outside corner. Coy tried to pull it in just a little bit and get the call, but DJ Rayburn wasn't by.
And he walked him. That's the 7th walk given up by Cubs pitching. And it's the 3rd leadoff walk. So Marshall will have to work around that as he faces Gonzalez. Outside corner, a fastball. Gonzalez without a hit against Sean, 0 for 5 in his career. In fact, you added up the guys on this Padre roster hitting a collective 190 against Marshall. But that'll go up as Gonzalez singles over Castro. They have 2 on, nobody out. That swing we were talking about, just get the barrel of the bat on the ball and hit it hard someplace.
Very controlled. He lets the ball get deep into the hitting zone before he commits, and then, as we said earlier, doesn't try to overpower it, just find a way to get the barrel of the bat on the ball and let everything else take care of itself.
Now the guy with the most at bats against Marshall, Ryan Ludwig, 3 for 15 with a double and a homer. Ground ball, base hit. Tejada waved around 3rd. Soriano will throw. It's cut off by Ramirez, and just like that, we're back to even. Well, that didn't take long. Ryan Ludwig ties it up. It's 2-2.
Some walks are more damaging than others. When you walk the number 2 hitter ahead of Adrian Gonzalez and Ryan Ludwig, you're asking for trouble. Gonzalez with his single to left center field going the opposite way. Ludwig drills one through the left side of the infield, and right back to square one.
Sinker baller Justin Bird now loosening. Still nobody out. Here's Headley.
Wouldn't surprise me to see Headley drop a sacrifice bunt in this situation. First and second, nobody out. He's a much better hitter as a lefty, but no sign of a bunt there on the first pitch from Sean Marshall.
A little bit short on their bench because Tony Gwynn went on the disabled list and they replaced him with a pitcher. So we'll keep that in mind as we get into the late innings. And a base hit to right. Not hit hard by Headley. The bases are loaded. 3 consecutive hits.
The breaking ball right in the middle of the strike zone. Headley with an inside out swing just kind of muscles it out into shallow right field. Fortunately, Adrian Gonzalez, he does a lot of things well on the field. He doesn't run particularly well. Wasn't able to score on that ball hitting right in front of Fukudome.
Now the Cubs are going to have to concede the go-ahead run for the opportunity to turn 2. Not easy decisions to make in the late innings, but you don't want a 2-2 tie to become a 6-2 deficit. Nowhere to put Torrealba. Gonzalez at third, Ludwig at second, Headley at first. A run to tie it. And they're threatening to get the lead back very quickly. In the dirt, ball 1. Ball 2. There's a strike. Two and 2. Only 2 times all year in 64 appearances has Marshall allowed more than the 3 hits he's given up in this inning. That's foul. Played by Corey Miller, protecting his bullpen mate Edgar Tovar, the 2 catchers out there. Corey telling Edgar, you owe me one.
Oh, Edgar will pay him back. Take care of your catching partners down there in that bullpen.
Another big 2-2 coming up. Soriano coming in. Gonzalez will not be able to tag and score. Everybody holding 1 out. Torrealba very upset with himself, and now a ground ball hit at somebody could get Marshall out of the inning. It'll be Will Venable. The inanimate objects in and around that dugout better watch out. Torrealba has that look right now. That snappage feeling. And a lot of hitters get in this spot.
It looks like he's over it.
Yep. He's going to smile his way through it. Swing and a miss by Venable. Kick and the pitch. Shank foul 0-2. Strikeout would work just fine here. Base hit center field. Gonzalez in. Ludwig waved around. The throw's going to go to third, and they have Headley dead, but the throw a little offline. And Aramis did not apply the tag as Headley tripped over the base. It's now 4-2. And also on the play, Venable moving to second base. Well, they had Headley out by 30 feet at third base.
Venable picking on that 0-2 breaking ball, slapped it into center field. Marlon Byrd immediately came up firing to third base where the ball beat Headley by a wide margin, and Ramirez just quit on the play. Headley stumbled off the bag, at least momentarily. He was not in contact with the base, but Ramirez was just walking the ball back into the middle of the infield.
4-2 San Diego. Pitching change. Berg is in. We'll be back. And third, the infield in against Krista Norfia. 3 runs for the Padres against Sean Marshall to take a 4-2 lead. Here we go. Sinker for a strike. We have our answer to the Matt Latos question. Matt Stairs is on deck in the pitcher's spot. Bouncer to Ramirez. They have Headley caught up, and he will be out at some point here. So 2 down in the inning. And now the run scores. Will Venable apparently caught the Cubs napping, and Lou's coming out. He's arguing that he was out at the plate on the tag. 5-2 as they get an extra run.
takes a look around and says, wait a minute, the catcher's right there. Pitcher's walking back to the mound. There's nobody at home plate. Coy has to kind of lead Xavier Nady into the play at the dish, and it looked like Venable got in under the tag. It's just heads-up baseball, keeping your head up, knowing where the ball is. It's still in play. Timeout has not been called. And you keep playing until the play's over.
Well, he got in. So it's now 5-2, and Latos will take the at-bat. Will not be Matt Stairs. Low and outside. Seventh inning stretch coming up. Lisa Dent, Ramblin' Ray. America's Country Station, US 99.5. As Berg gets off the mound. And that'll end a 4-run top of the seventh. Stretch time.
Today's guest conductors for Take Me Out to the Ballgame is US 99 morning show host Lisa Dent and Ramblin' Ray.
All right, Wrigley, don't worry about it. We're going to get some runs. Let me hear ya. On one.
On two.
On three. Take me out to the ballgame. Take me out to the ground. Come on. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back, 'cause it's fruit. Why? 'Cause they don't win, it's a shame. Come on, baby. 1, 2, 3, switch. Out of the field. Oh, yeah. Woo, woo, woo. Let's get some runs, baby. Go, Cubbies.
San Diego, a 4-run top of the seventh. So a reprieve for Matt Latos, who was trailing and now has his biggest lead of the day. Lisa Dent, Ramblin' Ray from US 99.5, singing the seventh inning stretch today. Was it everything you hoped it would be, Ray?
Len, it was everything and more. And to be here next to you, I'm sweating.
Actually, we're waiting for you to make an appearance on our show with your band. We hear that you're quite the player.
Well, Bob is a guitar player. We do what we can. We will keep our day jobs, as they say.
Yeah. So what do we got to do to get the Cubbies on a roll here?
Well, getting some runs here off Matt Latos would be a nice start. The Cubs got 2 in the 6th to take the lead as Soriano sends it into center. And that'll be caught by Denorfia.
You guys have sweet seats up here for every game, huh?
Not bad. Best view in sports, especially on a day like this.
Just the games at Wrigley. When we go on the road, we don't sit here.
Right.
Yeah.
And since Lou's leaving, does that mean you're going to throw your hat in the ring?
Oh. How are things down at the station?
Things at the station are just dandy.
All right.
This is probably a pretty comfortable job up here, huh?
Yeah, you don't want to be down in that oven.
And it's a strike on Blake DeWitt. So what time were you up this morning? Is this the end of your day today?
Well, yeah, Lisa and I were up this morning at about 1:45 practicing. You can hear how well that turned out.
Yeah.
That's in there for a strike.
Well, you've heard.
I'll take your job over.
You heard the 7th inning stretch here, and it's not about doing it in key. It's doing it with gusto, which you did, getting the crowd into it. And I thought you guys did a nice job.
Well, thanks.
It's a little intimidating, when you think of everybody that's done it. But I mean, most of all, Harry Carey. I mean, it's cool to be up here. It's an honor.
Any chance we'll hear a tape of your singing today on 99.5 sometime soon, huh?
Oh, that or YouTube. You'll hear it all, believe me.
Guys, I guarantee you that thing will be played in infamy. More times than we played Ditka.
DeWitt floats it out into the left, and it's going to get down for a base hit. So Blake DeWitt is on, bringing up Coy Hill. Ray and Lisa, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate you coming out today.
Well, guys,
we'll see you hopefully soon.
Hey, it's our pleasure. We appreciate you having us, man. It means a lot. And,
thank you.
We'll get them next year, huh, guys?
Good to see you. Good luck to you,
Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Lisa.
Hi, Mom.
US 99.5. Here comes Coy Hill. Tyler Colvin now in the on-deck circle in the pitcher's spot. Coy tried to bunt, and he did pull the bat back in time.
They say he pulled the bat back. I'm not quite so sure. Coy was looking to get on top of that high pitch and drop it down the third baseline, try to get a rally going here.
Inside, 2-0. Now Thatcher and Frieri. They have to alternate pitches out there because they both come from the side. Thatcher goes now. Frieri. Crossfire action in the Padre bullpen. Now straight back.
Thatcher because of the way low three-quarters, almost sidearm delivery, and Frieri because he likes to work the far third base side of the rubber and throw across his body. He's not necessarily a side armor, but just where he steps to deliver the ball would cause the two of them to come together if they both threw at the same time.
Three and one. Slide step in the pitch. It's going to hold up for Denorfia. 2 gone. It's Tyler Colvin pinch hitting. Dancing to the song only they can hear.
Uh-oh. Watch out. Oh, my goodness. Wow. That's very impressive.
She's telling him right now, you're very fortunate I landed on my feet. We've seen Colvin a whole lot lately. He's not started since Saturday at St. Louis. Well, taking some ground balls at first. This is how runners in scoring position can fool you a little bit. Cubs are batting .500 today with runners in scoring position. And the Padres about .300. The problem is the Cubs are 1 for 2 and the Padres are 4 for 13. It's more a function of how many opportunities you get, not necessarily your average. going to exaggerate the point. If you went 6 for 30 every game with runners in scoring position, your season average would be 200 in that spot. You'd probably win most of your games.
Yeah.
Teams that get those guys into position eventually are going to come through. And as we have found out in this series, sometimes it doesn't even take a hit to get that run in. Padres have done it on fielders' choices, sac flies, what have you. Colvin strikes out. That's a new career high for Matt Latos. 10 punch-outs on the day. Right, no run, baby.
In August and September, in particular, the series against the Houston Astros on September 6th, 7th, and 8th. Bleacher seats are still available as well. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com. Call 1-800-THE-CUBS or visit the Wrigley Field box office.
Rookie righty Marcos Mateo will pitch here in the 8th. Fourth Cubs hurler today. Rough one for Sean Marshall, charged with 4 runs in just a third of an inning. His ERA went up a half a run from 230 to 286. Swing and a miss. 1-1 to Hairston. His younger brother Scott is a Padre teammate. The wind and the 2-1. Bounced right to Aramis Ramirez. Would assume Matt Latos is done after 7. 5 hits, 2 runs. Your thoughts on the 22-year-old right-hander?
Very impressed by him. I think what we saw from Matt Latos today was he went to one of his secondary pitches that he doesn't normally use that often, that big breaking curveball, but he had a real good feel for it today, especially after the first inning. And he used it very effectively to get ahead in the count when he threw it for strikes and get strikes when he threw it in the dirt. He's just a very impressive young man. Good command of all 4 of his pitches.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's a good case study in how to use good stuff. We've talked about hard throwers who don't have good command. He's got all the pitches, but his command of those pitches, and I think the variance on his fastball speed, he's got a good downward hill plane from 6'6".
I mean, you could probably count on one hand the number of times he threw pitches over the heart of the plate, what you would call very, very hittable strikes.
Let's step aside and see what's coming up on WGN. Bob Brenly, Len Casper, our WGN Sports crew from beautiful Wrigley Field. 1-0 on Adrian Gonzalez. Single and a run in the 7th as the Padres retook the lead after the Cubs grabbed a 2-1 edge in the 6th. The other thing you see, and it's happened here a lot over the last couple of weeks, when the Cubs have had a lead late, and they haven't had many, even when they've been tied, maybe down a run, Lou has gone with the veterans, Marshall and Marmol. Once the Cubs get behind, you see a rookie pitcher come in, and with the inconsistencies we have seen, it has made it tough for the bullpen to keep it close and for the offense to come back. So Lou really had it set up the way he would like normally, but a rare bad outing from Sean Marshall. Three and two. So Mateo works a 1-2-3-8, bottom 8, 5-2 Padres.
Yeah, it does. That tar paper is real comfortable to lay on up there
nice
on the
and
roof.
cool.
Yeah.
Feels good on your back. Joe Thatcher slings it in for strike one. So these two guys match up. in the 7th inning on Monday night, and Kosuke got him for a 2-run double. Those runs were charged to Gregerson, Luke Gregerson, a right-hander. Thatcher hasn't given up many hits this season. Only 11 hits in 26 innings. That is sick.
Yeah, it's really sick. I mean, especially because he throws strikes. The guy's only walked 4 batters all year long. You know he's going to be around the strike zone as an opposing hitter, but he's just not able to make solid contact and get base hits against him.
Fukudome able to stop his swing. Thatcher, pretty good story. You always like to hear these. At one time he pitched for River City of the Frontier League. And here he is pitching on a pennant contending Padres ball club as he strikes out Fukudome.
It's time to check out our AT&T U-verse replay. We've seen this before. The youngest man on the totem pole, seniority-wise, has to carry the backpack out to the bullpen full of seeds and gum and candy. And Padres, he's got a monkey on his back. That's an unusual-looking backpack right there. Ernesto Frieri, the victim today, and kind of a neat routine that the Padres have. The relief pitchers wait until the starting pitcher comes back from the bullpen after warming up for the game. They all bump fists with him, and then they head on down to the bullpen.
Pitching change, 5-2 Padres. Will be back. We'll do the pitching. Third appearance of this series. Born at Park Ridge and went to high school in Morton, Illinois. Padres got him in March of last season, and he's been really good. 60th appearance on the year. One out, nobody on. Starlin Castro, the batter, 0 for 3 on the day. And he takes an outside corner pitch for a strike. One inning total for Gregerson in the series and 2 appearances. This is Denorfia in center.
Luke Gregerson could wear the description that we used to give to Michael Wirtz in his time here with the Cubs. The slider specialist. 55% of the pitches he delivers are sliders. He's got a good one. Can throw it to both sides of the plate. Occasionally he'll get on top of it a little more and get a little more downward movement. At other times it'll sweep across the zone.
Ouch. Marlin fouled that, I believe, off that front foot.
Yep. Came right down on top of that left foot. That was a sinker inside. Well, you know this one must hurt.
Fights it off, still looking a little gimpy. 0-2. Cubs can ill afford to lose Marlon Byrd for any stretch of time, considering what they've gone through here lately. At the first place Atlanta Braves coming in tomorrow afternoon as this very difficult stretch continues. Hit well but caught by Venable in left. The Cubs go down in order against two relievers here in the 8th. It's 5-2 Padres to the 9th. Along with Lou, log on to WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner and connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you're watching at home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio and play sets, hot tubs, and more. Here's Andrew Kashner, gave up a run in an inning yesterday on 3 hits, and the run actually scored on a wild pitch. And he was able to eventually get out of it. He had the bases loaded, no outs. And a 1-1 count to Ryan Ludwig. Padre closer Heath Bell. Right now it would be a save spot with his team up 3. Ludwig couldn't hold 1-2. The Braves lost today to Washington. So that National League East is not given quite yet, because the Phillies not only have Chase Utley back, they're 2 up in the wild card. They've won 20 of their last 25, and right now are 2 games out. Phillies will host the Giants. Phillies looking for the sweep tonight. Giants 2 back in the wild card. St. Louis 2.5 out. And the Cardinals also 3 back in the Central. Reds have won 5 in a row. Overcame a 4-run deficit last night to beat Arizona. Dusty Baker offered a contract extension. So he and his representatives are currently looking at it. On the other end of the spectrum, the Pirates are 2 losses away from what would be their 18th consecutive losing season. Right now they're at 40-80. Hill held on to it. That's a foul tip strikeout for Cashner.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the youngsters on this Cubs roster and the fact that they're having an opportunity to audition possibly for a role on this ball club next year. I think in Andrew Cashner's case, it's more just getting his confidence back. Came up with a vengeance, was throwing gas, getting people out. Very impressive. Immediately slid into that setup role in the bullpen for Carlos Marmol along with Sean Marshall, but then had a series of poor outings where he was getting hit hard, making a lot of mistakes in the middle of the plate. Just to get him back to where he was when he initially got here to the major leagues, trusting his stuff, being confident, being aggressive, and throwing quality strikes.
Not a must-win spot, but pretty close for the White Sox tonight. They've dropped 4 in a row. The Twins have won 6 straight. And Minnesota's 10-4 against the White Sox this season. 5-game lead in the Central. How about this, Bob? Joe Mauer last night hit his first home run at Target Field. Home run numbers way down for Mauer. But he's still hitting .335.
Yeah. Well, we saw a similar thing for the Mets when they moved into their new ballpark at Citi Field. Not nearly as homer-friendly as Old Shea Stadium was, and a lot of the Mets players were bemoaning the fact they couldn't get the ball out of the new park.
Soriano retiring. Headley. Visit the official online shop of the Chicago Cubs at Cubs.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, nostalgic memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear from the official source, the Cubs.com shop. Accept no substitutes.
When the Padres first moved into Petco Field in San Diego from Qualcomm Stadium, remember Ryan Klesko and Phil Nevin complaining on almost a daily basis about fly balls that were caught on the warning track that would have been long gone at the old ballpark. Hey, it is what it is. They're not going to build you another one. You better figure out how to be a productive player in the new stadium.
Torrealba apparently held 1-2. Got it. Cashner with a 1-2-3 ninth inning. Last chance for the Cubs as they try to avoid the sweep. They trail by 3. Opportunity for the major league leader in that department, Heath Bell, with 36, trying to make it 37 out of 40 on the season. This will be 3 out of 4 appearances for Bell in the set. Only game he did not get into was last night's 5-1 Padre victory. Ramirez 2 for 3 with an RBI double. That gave the Cubs a very short-lived 2-1 lead in the 6th. Bell's a big dude, 6'3", 250. Outside. 2-1. Bell made his major league debut with the Mets back in 2004. He's been an all-star twice. Last year won the National League Roll Age Relief Man Award as Ramos pops it foul back to the seats.
Bell certainly fits the mold of what you would consider a closer to look like. Big and brawny, waving that arm a la Rod Beck there.
Yeah, that's who he reminds you of, Rod Beck. A pre-pitch ritual. Ramirez just got under one as Venable was heels on the warning track. 1 out.
Ramirez just did miss this pitch. An elevated fastball, just got under it on the sweet spot of the bat, but just too much air under the baseball. Venable able to track it down just in front of the warning track.
Quiet day for Nady. A fly out and 2 strikeouts in his 3 trips. Jair Jurgens and Ryan Dempster tomorrow afternoon, and maybe Derek Lee in the Braves starting lineup. Tommy Hanson, Tom Gorzolani on Saturday, and then we'll have left-hander Mike Minor making just his 3rd start in the majors against Randy Wells. 1 o'clock for the leadoff man on Sunday afternoon. Nady skies the other way. Ludwig battling the sun. Now this is something you like to see. We just were talking about Marlon Byrd. He was probably stressing to Andrew Kashner. This is the kind of day you want to think about a lot. A lot of success today. Don't worry about that other stuff.
Yeah, and Marlon Byrd is a good guy to offer input to Andrew Kashner, or any pitcher for that matter, because of the viewpoint that he has out in center field. Yeah, Marlon probably as much as anybody other than the catcher, he sees how the hitter reacts to the pitches. He sees their body language in the box. He sees whether they're ahead or behind pitches. That's good to see.
And that is too. Soriano with a base hit to keep the Cubs alive for the time being. Another base runner and the tying run will come up. First, Blake DeWitt. Gonzalez will not hold him on. So he can take second whenever he wants, and there he goes. And DeWitt takes a strike. No steal for Soriano. Center, base hit. Soriano's going to score to make it 5-3, and Coy Hill as the tying run will come up.
Two-hit day for Blake DeWitt. Nice job of staying right on that Heath Bell fastball, outer part of the plate. Guided it out there into the gap in left center, and because Soriano took the bag on defensive indifference, he's able to score.
Coy Hill representing the game-tying run. Jeff Baker on deck for Cashman. DeWitt will go to second. Called strike 2. If this game goes to 10, it'll be Carlos Marmol in extras. Bell's 0-2 in the dirt outside. The kick, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and for the first time ever, the San Diego Padres sweep a 4-game series here at Wrigley Field. Bell gives up 1 in the 9th. If the Padres win it by 2, 5-3 the final score. So they are pulling away in the National League West. Now a 6.5 game lead over the second place San Francisco Giants. We'll have more from Wrigley Field in a moment.